Join Tim and Kristina Madden, co-founders of Executive Career Upgrades, on their podcast, the Executive Career Upgrades Podcast. As an executive in today's highly competitive job market, it can be tough to succeed. However, with Tim's nationally recognized career advice and Kristina's mindset expertise, you can reach your full potential. Tune in to upgrade your career and get ahead of the competition.
All right, welcome to the Executive Career Upgrades Podcast with your host, Tim Madden. The beautiful Kristina Madden is out this week traveling, and she is very saddened that she is unable to make it. But don't worry. She gave me some information to share with you today. So, hey, if you don't know us, right, we help individuals, right, directors, VPs, and executives in corporate America, right, land new jobs, right? Start that new job off successfully and then continue to excel at the job. More on that soon. Hey, we go live each week inside the Executive Career Network over on Facebook. Check us out. 13,000 members. And give me, if you're watching live, hey, comment down below, hashtag ECN. We appreciate you. Joey, we'd love to have you a part of our community. We also stream over to our friends on LinkedIn and Twitter, and then upload it every single place on the internet. And as always, before we get started, hey, do us a favor. We crushed our 2023 goals if you've been following us and listening to us, and we need your help to crush our 2024 goals. And it's one of our big goals to be a top 100 podcast over on Apple. So do me a favor. If you get some value today, obviously share it with a friend, but leave us a review over on Apple. We appreciate you. So let's get into it. If you need help in your career, well, we'll actually get there in a second. First, I want to talk about some special announcements before I get into this amazing topic today, which I know is going to help you in your search. Amazing topic is, I can't tell you till next week, so you'll just have to tune back in. Guys, Kristina wanted me to share it with you about this amazing thing that's happening in the summer for the first time ever. But you're going to have to wait till next week because I'm not going to steal her thunder. I want her in the podcast room to tell you all about it, and it's going to be super exciting. I cannot wait for that. Okay. As always, okay, if you need help in your career, go on over to execupgrades.com/podcast, right? Schedule a free consultation with our team. See how we might be able to help you in your career. And then number two, go on over to execupgrades.com/resources, right? So on the resources, what you're going to be able to get is you're going to be able to get tons of free ebooks on getting your resume right, being more effective, communicator, leader, improving your mindset if you're in a corporate leadership role or if you're approaching a job search. We even have some paid materials like some resume templates, and we also have this nifty interview cheat sheet for only $29.99. That is 20 pages, and we're going to go over a lot of this today because that's what we're talking about today is, hey, how do we turn interviews into offers? So I'm super excited that if you plan on going on an interview inside the next 36 months, you absolutely need to know this information. So I am monitoring the comments as well. Mike, appreciate it. Oh, he's got a phone interview at 12:30. Let's hurry up and get started. Mike, I wish you the best of luck, my man. Let me see here. Yeah. Hey, if you're tuning in on LinkedIn and you're having a problem, hey, refresh the page. So, hey, before we get started, one more thing. We are upgrading our podcast room yet again. So we have a new camera coming, new audio coming, new everything coming. So stay tuned if you're a live subscriber. We got some cool stuff coming in. Okay. And then if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, hey, we'd love to have you live. I stream from my LinkedIn channel, Tim Madden, or we always stream over on YouTube on the channel or the Executive Career Network. All right, let's get started. Okay. You need to know what to say on an interview. We have a saying here at Executive Career Upgrades, right? Our saying is this to our sales team, right? Our enrollment team, people that are the gatekeepers to make sure that if people schedule calls with us, right? If people schedule calls with us, they know what to say. Thank you, Brett. I appreciate it. And what we tell our enrollment team is We do not practice on our customers. Are you with me? We do not practice on our customers. We make sure our enrollment team, I'm getting to a point here, stick with me. We try to make sure that our enrollment team, right, is well equipped to handle people, right, that when they come into our ecosystem and schedule a consult with them, if they really do need help in their career, that we know exactly what to say to provide them assistance. Now, additionally, this is what we tell our clients, okay? When individuals become our clients, okay? And we tell them, we don't want you to practice. We don't want you to practice when you're going on an interview that could be your potential dream job, right? So think of anyone who's ever been successful at anything, playing video games competitively, playing sports competitively, business, it's anything in life that you're trying to, where there's competition involved. Let me know if you want to practice, right? Because let's be honest, at your level, you are competing against other people at your level. They have likely the same accomplishments as you. They have likely the same education as you, and they've likely paid money to get their resume and LinkedIn done. So what really is going to set you apart? Your ability to effectively communicate. And your inability to do this, oh man, let me tell you just one painful thing that could happen. Imagine you are the best fit for the company. Imagine you have the best skills. You fit into the culture the best. You're the best, man. And someone beats you out because they can communicate more clearly. They can really hone in to what that business is looking for, right? And get buy-in, and they're selected over you. That's painful. Don't let that happen. Don't let that happen. So that's what I'm committed to give you today. Another thing, if you're not a part of the Executive Career Network, right? What I talked about this morning was, if you don't know this, in September of 2023, Forbes said 9.7 ECU. I haven't told you this either if you're tuning in, okay? 9.7 million jobs were posted last September. Pretty interesting, right? Do you know how many jobs were filled last September? Less than 2% of the jobs posted. So people are talking about, there's these ghost job postings out there. Companies haven't even developed departments, but they might be looking for talent. So let's go ahead and put, all of these job postings out there. It's wild, right? But with that being said, it's even more important, right? As we're in a retracting moment, you can see it. We're retracting, right? Companies are laying people off. So, Brett, or people who said they're going on interviews today, who you think you're competing against? You're competing against sharp people who were just let go at Google, at IBM, at Airbnb, at Twitter, at what's the other one? At Twitch. You're competing against these people. These are sharp people, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So you need to skill up and you need to be prepared. Okay. Your livelihood depends on it, your family's livelihood, and your ability to make an impact, which is one big reason we're here on this planet, right? And that we get fulfillment on. Hopefully, I have hit you home. Dr. Ram, it's this one right here. If you guys are viewing in, it's the interview cheat sheet. You can go to execupgrade.com, execupgrades.com/resources. I believe it's on the website for $20, I think. But hey, let's get into this, guy. We're not going to have time to go through all of it, right? But there's a couple key things I want you to take away as if you're preparing for it. And Kristina did have a couple things she wanted me to share. Okay. She said, with more and more people being let go and more people having a hard time retaining good talent, this is even becoming more vital year after year. And here's another thing. If you are suffering from lack of interviews and a scarcity mindset, which some of you are, okay, do you think that impacts your ability while you're on these interviews? Absolutely. Then you get more nervous. You get more anxious, right? So let's get started. Study on LinkedIn. A couple years ago, I believe it was 4 years ago, 70% of hiring managers know if they want to hire you within the first 60 seconds. 90% of hiring managers know if they want to hire you within the first 15 minutes. So ladies and gentlemen, if you do not get anything, okay, from this podcast, except this, what I'm telling you right now is even people at the highest levels, even if you, the CEO, okay, going in front of the board, you really got 15 minutes. You really got 60 seconds. If you make it past 60 seconds and you can still retain their attention, you might have 15 minutes. So the beginning of this interview is so vital. What you say is so vital. Be careful. So first, hey, I wanted to go over you need to be prepared for the first 15 minutes of this interview. You need to be organized and you need to be sharp. It could determine the future or not future of that organization. Okay. A lot of people ask me when they're nervous, oh, here's another thing. Everyone who's getting nervous on interviews, I've seen this so much. It's been posted on the Executive Career Network a lot too, about people being nervous. Let me just tell you how to, number one, resolve that while you're going through the interview, like something that can help on this, okay? But more importantly, why it happens. So if you don't know why nervousness happens, it's because typically you're not prepared. Because here's why, right? And don't get me wrong, if you train a lot, you will be prepared. For instance, I was a military guy. I was a field artillery officer. I've served in the military for 23 years in the U.S. Army. Love my time. Okay. Now, with that being said, when we do training evolutions, we do it 1,000 times. React to contact, right? Hey, if you're driving along in a vehicle, right, in a combat zone, we practice that thousands of times. Why do we practice that? Thousands of times. Because if we're ever driving in a town, where we're driving on the side of the road in a combat zone, and we take contact, people start shooting at us, someone shoots a missile at us, right? We want to subconsciously know what to do without even thinking it. Does that make sense? Okay. We want to, hey, react to contact, hurry up, dismount, provide security, shoot back, right? Communicate, move, protect the injured. We want to do all that without even thinking about it. The only way you can do that is through tremendous amounts of repetition, okay? It's the same thing as Michael Jordan, okay, and Kobe Bryant. How can they not be nervous shooting a game-winning shot all of the time? They've shot hundreds of thousands of shots. Make sense? So likely if you're approaching a job search right now and you're nervous, I already know why. When's the last time you've been on a job interview? And if you said 3 within the past 90 days, dude, no wonder you're nervous. The only way to get over this is to practice, train, and be prepared. Now, I get it. You may still have a little butterflies, right? Here's how to handle this. What I really recommend is going over to YouTube with my man, Vision Lakiani, and maybe Raquel, you can post it in the chat. And what you're looking for is the 6-step guided meditation by Vision Lakiani. I'm probably saying his name wrong. I'm sorry. Over at Mind Valley. This guy's amazing, right? Anytime I'm speaking in front of a lot of people, anytime I'm doing a large event, anytime Tim Madden, hey, sometimes I get a little nervousness too, right? It allows me, right, to be in a mental clarity state. There's some breathing exercises. It helps tremendously. So, hey, if you're one of the people who, are prepared or not prepared and you're getting a little nervous, hey, definitely watch that video 30 minutes before your interview. Guaranteed it'll help. Now, the first question, 99.9% of the time that you're going to be asked is what? Tell me about yourself. Now, be very careful how you answered this question, because remember I talked about 60 seconds and 15 minutes. Be very, very, very careful, because your time is limited and their attention span is limited. What they're really asking you when they say, tell me about yourself, and I'm going to grab a drink of water for a sec. Raquel should put it in the chat. And then if she doesn't, guys and gals, I'll post it in just a second. But when people say, tell me a little bit about yourself, what they're really asking you, do me a favor if you're taking notes, write down, hey, why are you qualified for this position? Why are you excited to work here? Because let's be honest, do you really think they care of who your favorite NFL team is? Do you really think they care where you went to school? Or do you really think they care, hey, what value do you think you can bring to the company? And hey, how do our values and goals align? Maybe, probably. So here is the framework that we teach our clients, right? To go over, tell me a little bit about yourself. Hey, you got 10 seconds. Say a little bit about yourself. Hey, where'd you go to school? A little icebreaker, right? But hey, I'm Tim Madden, I live in Tampa, Florida. Hey, 10 seconds. And then it's business time. Number 2, why are you qualified for this position? And provide some specific accomplishments. And then number 3, tell them what drew you to the company. Why are you interested in the company? Even if a recruiter called you or decision maker called you out of the blue for a position you did not qualify for, if they schedule an interview for that. That's how you do it. You do it icebreaker, tell them why you're qualified, and tell them what drew you to that organization. And do it in 60 seconds. Because if it takes you 2 or 3 minutes, you're going to lose the attention of that person. And then likely you're not going to be moved on. You're not going to be moved on. Yes, Valeria, most of the guides are free. This one is one of our paid resources. Next, hey, when you answer questions, okay, inside the interview, you need to use, call it whatever you want. Call it storytelling, call it STAR, call it all of these different things that everyone calls it. But the reality is this: if someone asks you a question, I need to tell them how I've done that successfully. Does that make sense? I don't want to speak on theory ever. Hey, what would you do in a situation like this? Well, I'd probably do this. Probably. And you're a leader who wants to make multiple 6 figures, and you probably would do that? No. How about you tell people how you have overcame a similar issue or situation and exactly what you did? Make sense? Okay. If someone says, hey, what would you, well, it's really anything. Remember, the past is a good prediction of the future. If you've solved something similar in the past, you can probably do it again. Okay. So remember, and if you haven't solved it exactly, okay, put something you've solved that is very similar. But you have to tell people to put their mind at ease, right? How you've done A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? How you've done it successfully in the past and directly how it relates to them. If you are unable to do that and you're just speaking on theory, you're likely not going to get moved on to the round. So you really have to know storytelling, STAR method, call it whatever you want. But really, what I want to call it right now is this is the communication style or framework, the only one that works inside the interview when you're asked questions. Hey, Tim, have you ever, what would you do in this situation? Great question. Hey, I've done one similar. Okay, here's what was going on. Here's how I achieved it. Here was the positive result. Every single time. Make sure you do that. Make sure you practice. The 2 most important questions, the only reason this drives me nuts, okay? So please, even if you're a hiring manager, make sure you're asking at least the person, make it easy for them, okay? But the only thing that matters, the only reason you're on the interview, ladies and gentlemen, if you're taking notes, write this down. The only reason I'm on the interview is the company, right? The company has a need, right? The company has a need for potentially someone who provides my services. Otherwise, why would they be talking to you? Okay. So likely there's a need and they're looking for someone to fulfill that need. Okay. And likely because of that need, they have struggles, challenges, or they're unable to reach their strategic goals. So again, the 2 most important questions that you have to ask on every interview, I highly recommend right after you do your little intro pitch, is, hey, I read the job description, right? But can you give me an overview of what you're really looking for? Here's why. A job description, some of them are 5 pages, but they only really need someone to do this. What's crazy too is you could be a marketing leader. You could be a super successful marketing leader. And if you don't ask that question, you could go deep into your expertise in marketing when really what could be the number one brief overview and what they're really looking for. Do you know what they could be really looking for? Okay. What they could really be looking for is just someone who's really good at hiring people in marketing and setting benchmarks for their team. See how you could have like a high level CMO role that could literally, maybe all of the marketing things that they have for the entity are already in place and they literally just need help expanding the department. And here you go talking about how great you are at managing all these ads, doing this, doing that, overseeing teams when their biggest need you didn't even touch. Make sense? So before you go after your pitch, talking about how great you are in all of these areas, make sure we're only talking about stuff that is relevant to what's on their mind right now. Otherwise, you likely may not move on to the next round. And number 2, what we want to know is, excuse me, what are common struggles for the position? What are common struggles for the position? Okay. What are some of the challenges? Where's the company going? What potential roadblocks do they see? Well, why do I want to ask that? Because in addition to what they're looking for, I want to make sure I am pulling out what are their challenges, right? What are the nuances? Where are they trying to go? Why haven't they been able to get there as of yet? And I want to collect data to show that person I can help them. Think about this. Heaven forbid, say one of us have cancer. Say you call one cancer facility. Oh my geez, I have cancer. I need to start getting chemo treatment. And they just schedule you for chemo treatment. How am I going to feel? Pretty uneasy, right? Let me try to call another facility that provides treatment. Hey, I just found out I have stage 2 cancer. Oh my God. Right? I have to get scheduled for this type of, prevent or medicine, right? Or chemotherapy. How would I like to, hopefully that company says, hey, Mr. Madden, do not worry. We have treated 4,000 patients here in the last 24 months. We have a success rate of 96% of remission. We've done this. What facility do you want to go to? Man, I want to go to that facility, not the first one, right? So think about this. Before you start talking about how great you are, before you assume they're having all these challenges, make sure you're asking the right questions, again, inside this 15-minute window. Otherwise, someone else is, and they're going to beat you out. The other thing, know how to field objections. You will always get them. If you worked at a big company like Google and you're going to a small startup now, likely one of their objections is going to be, hey, but you've worked at Google. You had all this funding. You had these big teams. We don't have that here. What are you going to say? Or what if you work at the small startup and now you're going on your dream job interview at Google, okay, potentially. And they say, hey, Tim, we really like your background, but you've only, worked at small organizations and we're Google. You'd be in a department of 600 people. You do this, you've done this. Hey, we don't know if you fit into the culture, right? Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to say? One objection will kill that opportunity. And quick story, I remember a couple years ago, we had someone going so many interviews. It was a high-level role. Comp 600K, sign-on bonus $250,000 sign-on bonus. That's pretty big. Shares, stock, equity, all the stuff, right? Everybody loved her. She made it to the final interview with the board of directors and actually kind of failed at one question. Guess what? She did not get hired. Make sure you know how to handle objections. You already know most of the time what they're going to say. If you don't have your degree, they might bring it up. Well, Tim, most people in this job have their master's degree. What are you going to say? Hey, Tim, we really need someone with the CPA to take over our CFO position. Hey, I know you have 20 years of project management, but we'd really prefer someone has a 6-week or some PMP certificate. What are you going to say to these people so you don't lose the interview? Best tip I have for you is first, always clarify. Clarify, right? For instance, we'll do the Google one, right? Well, hey, Tim, you've worked at Google, right, for a really long time. I think you'll have problems fitting in at our small company. Most of you just try to handle that right away. No, I can absolutely fit in. That's not really making that person feel at ease, right? How about we try to understand them a little more? Hey, John, when you say you're a small company and I came from Google and you say I might have trouble fitting in, like, what do you specifically mean by that? How do we know what he means? Does he mean the values? Does he mean it's hard, right? If we really think about this, the analogy I give our clients frequently, it goes like this, right? If you're faced with an objection, someone asking something that's a concern of theirs, and you immediately tell them it's okay, don't worry about it. Like in this case, well, we're a small company. You came from Google, and they immediately say, oh, hey, Tim, you come from a big company. We're a small company. Oh, that's okay. I'll fit in perfectly. That's what a lot of you say. So the analogy I give our clients is everyone, even if you don't have children, you're likely an aunt or an uncle or something along those lines. Imagine one of your nieces or nephews running up to you crying, okay? You don't know what's wrong. And you immediately pick up that child and say, hey, don't worry, little Johnny, everything's going to be okay. That'd be weird, right? That's what happens when someone gives you an objection and you say, oh, hey, don't worry about that. You pick up that crying child and say, hey, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. I have no idea what's wrong with you. No idea what happened. No idea what triggered it. But don't worry, everything's going to be okay. Like, what? Make sure you know how to field these objections. Okay? Making sure for the sake of time, we don't have time to talk about money, right? Make sure you know how to talk about money. So that doesn't, especially with recruiters, that will end an interview so quickly if you don't know how to handle, right, those different things. Next, all this stuff's important, sorry. One of the biggest things you need to learn as well, is, especially instead of 2024, if I haven't shared these stats with you, 81% of people that go on interviews in 2023 who said they did a good job, who said they're moving into the next round. Can anyone help me out in the comments? What do you think happened? What do you think happened? Well, I'll tell you, they were never contacted again. Crazy, huh? In 2024, if you want to be successful, you have to know how to communicate. You have to know how to control the interview. You got to be in the right mindset. You have to know how to control the interview, know how to position it at the beginning, know how to ask what's important to them, what they're looking for, be able to speak that back to them, be able to field objections, okay? Be able to know how to talk about money, and then you have to know how to lock down next steps. You have to know how to lock down next steps with the recruiter, with the hiring manager, with the hiring manager's boss, with HR. Otherwise, you'll be playing the email tag game for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it will drive you crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, can you help me out? Say you're a hiring manager. Most of you are. If a candidate does a great job, schedule the follow-up with them. Please, already be prepared. Already be prepared with the CEO. Already be prepared to say, hey, CEO, I'm meeting a new potential VP of marketing today. If stuff goes well on this interview, I know you're going to want to meet with them. What are your available times right now next week? Oh, boom, boom, boom. Perfect. Good. Then I could say, hey, if this person does a good job, boom, good. I already have the time scheduled. So best practice for hiring managers, right? But you have to know how to lock down next steps, because most of the time they're going to say something like, oh, we're reviewing other candidates. Oh, the next one you're going to do is, you need to meet with Bob, who's the CEO. Great. When can I meet with Bob? I'm not sure. I'll get back with you. So there's many different ways this could go. The best advice I have for you is to clarify. So let's talk about clarifying. So let's say I'm the job seeker. I'm talking to the hiring manager. Next step, meet with the CEO, right? Hey, Tim, you did a good job. We love you. Next step is to meet with the CEO. Tim Madden would say, great. Hey, when will I be meeting with the CEO? Hiring manager, Tim, I'm just not sure. He's busy. Tim Madden, hey, no, that's understandable. He's the CEO. Hey, do you think it will be sometime next week? Or do you think likely it will be the week after? Hiring manager is going to say, oh, no, it'll be next week. This is a priority. Tim Madden, great, hiring manager. Hey, I want to put something, John, on your calendar for Friday at 5, next Friday at 5, where if I haven't heard anything from you, at least me and you have a time to reconnect. Again, love the values, love this. Here's why I'm qualified. I'm excited about it. And I know everyone's busy over there, to include you and the CEO, right? But I know this position's not fortunately, I know this position is vital for you as well, right? Sent you a calendar invite. At a minimum, schedule a call with the same person, because at least now I know, even if I follow up a couple times leading up to that, I at least know I have a call with the hiring manager next week at 5 in case I don't hear from anybody. Make sure you do that. That will cause you lots of pain and heartache. So there are many different things you need to know for these interviews. Interjecting questions, clarifying, right? All of these different behavioral questions you might get asked, time management questions, communication, motivation, values, right? How to fill the objections that's coming because you have a gap. You have a gap in your work history. You are changing industries, changing positions, going for a higher level role. And this is stuff that the school doesn't teach you, unfortunately, or neither does corporate America. But it's one of the core skills you need, how to effectively communicate. This is why last year, and if anyone knows of anything different, let me know. I'm pretty sure we pioneered the first ever interview certification program here at Executive Career Upgrades that we send our clients through, because we want to make sure that they don't practice while they're going on the interviews, right? We want to make sure they know what to say at the beginning, know what to say, right? So if you want more information on the interview certification program so that you can convert those interviews to offers, hey, go on over to execupgrades.com/podcast. But at minimum, this guide, this 20-page ebook, right, would be a good start. If you didn't interview in a while, it's literally loaded with information, templates, processes that I know would help you in your search or your upcoming interview. And then for individuals that know they need more help, we have certification programs and different things. Here's why. And here's why me and Kristina do what I do what we do, right? Is when I got out of the military, most of you know this, I had a really rough time a long time ago, right? Getting that first job, right? And I was doing everything wrong. And the 2 interviews I actually did go on in 9 months, ladies and gentlemen, man, 2 interviews in 9 months. I wish something like this existed that I knew about. I would have absolutely got help. The 2 interviews that I did go on that I spent countless hours trying to generate, man, I didn't even know what to say. Can you believe that? I wasn't prepared. I didn't know what to say. And I got beat out by other people. Do not let that happen to you. Make sure you have a plan, you have a blueprint, you have a roadmap of exactly what to say. This could cost you potentially. We just had someone 7 days ago get a job increase of $105K plus all these different incentives, right? what this could potentially cost you in your career by messing up an interview that's a, tremendous upward mobility move could set you back multiple years in your career, could make it extremely more difficult, could impact your ability to better provide for your family, better provide for your kids if they're in college. Do not make these mistakes. So unless you know how to ace every single interview and communicate effectively, hey, please go pick up our guide. Please hook up on our interview certification program or get some help so you don't have to go through what I went through for a prolonged period in my life that added a lot of depression and anxiety. Until next week, everyone, till the beautiful Kristina Madden's back. Hey, I wish you continued success in your career, right? I know that 2024 is your career, not your career, your year to get the job and money you deserve, right? So skill up, get the tactics and strategies you need to be successful, whether that's with effective branding, whether that's with getting on interviews, whether that's being successful on the interviews or talking about money. If you do not know how to do those things, absolutely connect with us because we want to help you with your next career upgrade. Until next week, everyone, thanks for tuning in to the Executive Career Upgrades podcast. And be sure to follow us over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Thanks, everyone.